Greetings everyone and a warm welcome to you. Hey guys, this is the February Earth Sign predictions reading. It is late. I have not been available to do the reading until now, and here in New Zealand it is actually the 7th of February. So we'll see what the cards show us, because as I say, we are already marching into February anyhow. Yesterday I believe there was a giant meltdown on the share market or the stock exchange with the FTSE in America. So let's see if that shows through with the cards. So this is February's Earth Prediction Series. The Stranger, the Mother, the Messenger or the Message, the Tree, and Earth. And normally we do one more, and we have the Father. There's nothing specifically in that set of cards that I would say dictates money or even shows us anything about money. We have a lot of people in the cards: the Mother, Father, and the Stranger. And then we have more land oriented things with such as the Tree and the Birth card. The Mother card doesn't come out very often. In fact, I think she has only come out a few times. So let's start with the card on the left, the Stranger card. We often talk about issues to do with communist countries. When this card turns up, it reminds me of communist energies because of the glove on the hand that is hidden down here. So this can be sort of communist leaders that do something within the month of February that is unusual or comes to world attention. And we can certainly see that with North Korea teaming up with South Korea for these Winter Olympics that are about to begin this week as well. So that is unusual behaviour from their perspective. It also perhaps pertains to countries such as China and Russia and other various communist energetic type countries as well. The Mother card can symbolise families, so issues with families especially, perhaps the loss of families. It can also represent Gaia, as in Earth herself, Mother Earth, and energies and synergies along those lines. Just this morning there was a very large quake in Taiwan. Buildings were toppled and unfortunately some lives have been lost. But the most interesting thing about it was that it was only a kilometre deep. It was a 6.4 on the Richter scale. Now a kilometre deep earthquake is very unusual. They're not normally that shallow, so that's a little bit of an unusual trend. But going back to other representations for the card, because it doesn't come out very often, I'm not entirely sure. We need some extrapolation of the energies of this, and you guys are the best ones to help with that. But I do think families and also children, so issues to do with children, babies, women as well. And we do know that 2018 is showing itself to be the year of female energies, with the rising protests that have been around the globe, the You Too and the Me. I forget what the slogans are exactly, but it's about women becoming united and showing an affront for the abuse that they've perhaps suffered in various places such as workplaces. So that could be another issue along those lines. Now, the message issue I often think of is potential tsunamis, because it looks like a very mucked up bunch of stuff that could collectively come from the ocean, because it's a fishing net with bottles and junk and fish and all sorts of things washed up, literally, or sitting on the deck of a boat. So I do think of things that affect our oceans in particular when this card comes out. So weather-related ocean issues, so big storms that can form. Another thing that is becoming quite a strange phenomenon at the moment are these bizarre tides, where we're seeing low tides and then really high tides. If you follow Secure Team on YouTube, he has some really interesting video footage and articles that he has presented around the issue of these strange tides, and they're in various parts of the world. I believe there was one yesterday noted in India. There have been some in Argentina or South America. There have been some through Europe. So there are a lot of people noticing particularly unusual tide movements and also rogue waves at the moment. So that's what the message can mean. The message could also be more literal about a message that we receive. So this could be the one card that I could tie into possibly the financial market at the moment, but certainly I wouldn't have picked up on finances a great deal through this reading. We come to the tree on the left hand side and we think again of families because of the family tree. So there's something in here about families or people, fathers and sons, mothers and children, the family tree. So there was that strange case in America with the 14 children recently, just in January, where they were found and they had been tortured and kept locked in a house. So there are possibly more issues like that that could be activated in February or be more in the news as well, or issues to do with groups of families, legal issues around them, strange news events that pertain to them, or perhaps mass events that pertain to families as well. The tree can also represent very much, because it's very red, fires and heat. So there could be somewhere where there are lots of trees that are involved in fire type activity, where they are burnt or destructed in one way or another, possibly flooded, or in Russia, for instance, it's snowing so heavy that trees are being damaged and broken. So whatever the cause of the issues with the physical trees, it can be through heat and fires, or through flooding, or cold weather, avalanches and snow, things like that. But trees could be affected in the month of February. We come to the birth card sitting next to it. It very much symbolises intense rain, like incredibly heavy rainstorms, and it can be flash flooding, avalanches, mudslides, especially through some of the more tropical parts of the globe as well, or not tropical but the moister parts. So up through places like the Philippines, or through that middle part of the globe, I guess I am suggesting, but also further up to in places like Europe, and even down here in New Zealand we've had a month of pretty intense strange rainstorms that have affected us severely. So it's this type of energy with the birth card. It can affect crops, so we can see a shortage of crops coming into play in February. So this can be crops that are damaged by flooding, or landslides, or avalanches, or earthquake, or storm damage. The other thing it can indicate is movement, earthquake movement. However, it's not been a major energy of the card. We come down to the father card at the bottom, and this is the third month in a row that he has been in. Now, he does instantly point up to the sky, so he suggests things about the sky, so things coming from the sky, meteorites, meteors, asteroids, comets, astrological formations or interesting things that we are watching within the sky. And yes, on the 15th of February there is a solar eclipse, so it's those type of things. Also rocket activity, satellite activity, the launching of rockets, planes. There can be issues with planes again. So it's quite an active card about pointing to the sky. Just in the last 2 weeks alone, where I live in New Zealand, I have been watching the sky at night, looking at the stars and enjoying them, and have seen 2 really large fireball type things go across the sky, which is actually quite unusual for us. So we're seeing an increased number of them down here. So I think globally we're seeing an increased number of activity in the skies. Is it part of the space junk that we're putting up there that is slowly disintegrating and coming back down into Earth's atmosphere, or is it something further out that's disturbing the space wave energies that's then sending these rocks and things off course and hurtling them closer to us? Those are the questions that we would ask. So it often also has the synergy of war or activation of hand-to-hand combat, which it can be, or aggravation and warring tendencies. So that can include terrorist activities as well. So I have seen worse readings, and of course, as I say, we're already 7 days into the whole scenario of February. So guys, that is the February reading. So thanks for watching everyone, and thanks for your comments and ideas about the energies and what the cards might mean. Have a safe and happy month everyone, and happy Valentine's Day for the 14th of February. Take care. Namaste.